can now, based off of any contact, property, listing, transaction, any of those, you can set it up so that a tag, if you're adding a tag or you're removing a tag, it can now start a routine. So this could be helpful where maybe you want to, you set up a routine that is.
Yeah, finally.
You set up a routine that says, monthly newsletter or, whatever. And that tag gets applied, then you want it to automatically start a routine of some sort. So the way you do that, number one, is in our routines area, we use date fields as being the catalyst, the trigger for any kind of routine. It triggers it based off of some kind of date field. Let me go ahead and show you how to turn this on. Number one, in your setup area, if you go into settings, go into setup, go into your menu options. In menu options, we've got the manage date fields. I would have automatically added these, but a lot of people create these and create things, and I didn't really want to mess with them. But if you go in here to add a date field, so these are like all the date fields that are part of your contacts, or if I wanted to go into my listings, these are all the date fields that are part of listings. There's two new date fields that you have available to you that you can incorporate into this list. Let's say, for instance, I go into my contacts and I want to add a date field for, actually, I guess I did add tags. There's a tags add date and a tags remove date. So let me come all the way down here. Okay, so yeah, tags added date and a tags removed date. Anytime that you add a tag, this date field will update itself. If you remove a tag, this one will update itself automatically. By doing this now, what we can do is we'll go ahead and save this. And I'm going to go into my routines, and you can do it for any of the databases, the contacts, properties, listings, transactions, or projects if you have projects. Let's say I want to create a new routine. I'm going to create that routine and say on my contacts, I want to say tags added date. So if a tag is added, I'm going for the contacts, I want it to do something. So I can go ahead and create that, and it comes in here and just creates a blank item. So at least it knows it's there. Now, here's the trick. And there's kind of two things that you need to be aware of and do. Number one is you do need to make sure that you add, in order to get that tags added, you need to go in and put that into the setup so that they're available as a choice to choose from as far as a trigger. Once that's in there, then one thing that you're going to want to do, this is going to trigger every time you change a tag. And you don't necessarily want to start this every time you change a tag. What you want to do is set up a condition that says, I'm going to add a new condition here, that whenever the tags equals some tag, say newsletter, if I add the newsletter tag to something, then I want to start this. Now, the challenge is if I just did that part right there and I left it like that, if I add the newsletter to it, it would start the routine. But maybe down the road, I add some other tag. If the newsletter or if the routine is still running, it wouldn't do anything because it won't start the same routine multiple times. But if it stops, if it's completed, and I add another tag down the road, it would start it again. which you may or may not want. So one thing that you can do is come in here and say, well, if its newsletter was added, then I want this. But maybe I also want to say if tags does not equal, maybe I say on newsletter list, or newsletter routine started. I could put some kind of thing that says it can't already be with this tag whenever I add this one. And it allows you then to say, well, based off of me having just added this tag, if I don't have the started routine, it won't start it again. And that could be really important because you may not want it to run again if you add some other tag, because all we're doing is saying if we're if the tag contains this. So I would probably go in there and create some other new tag, like some new tag. I don't really know what is. As long as that tag and this tag was added or in there and it does not have this one, then we're good. So I can come in here then on the first activity. Whenever I'm sending out my newsletter or I start this, one of the things that I would want to do is say, as soon as I start this routine, I'm going to update my field, and I want to add that some new tag so that I don't run this routine multiple times. So I can come here, I can say add tags, and I can select the tag as some new tag. That may not make as much sense. I would probably create some kind of special tag in there that's just for indicating that I've got them on this routine and I've run through it and I don't necessarily want it to restart again if it's still running. If it's still running right now, it won't start it. But if it's not still running, if it's completed, then it would start it again, and you just may not want that. So by doing this, it's going to automatically add that. Actually, if I check this little checkbox, it'll automatically add that to the routine, to the contact, and then it will no longer add it again if I add some other tag and it still has the newsletter tag on that contact. And maybe I can make this easier, but here's the situation. Let's say, for instance, I've got this one routine here, and I go here to newsletter. Say I go to a contact, and let's go to William Taft. Let's see if I've got him on. Okay, I don't currently have him on a newsletter. Let's say, for instance, I come here and I add him to a newsletter, and I close that. Just by me adding that newsletter tag onto that record, it goes out and it says, oh, they wanted that routine to start, which it should. If I go here to routines, no routine on there. So I'm going to come here now to tags, and I'm going to add a tag of newsletter and close that. So now what, I don't have the some new tag on there, and as I'm currently looking at it, but if I come over here to routine list, it was an automatic, and all it did was automatically run. So as soon as it ran it closed it. So it didn't even have to do anything. Had I sent messages or something like that, it would have. But here's the thing. If I go in and if I add some other tag right now, let's say, for instance, I add 7 years, the 7-year tag to this. Just by me adding that 7-year tag, it's updated the important date tags. So tags added it at 142. It will have added it. And then at that same point, it will have tried to start that routine. And the fact that I do have newsletter in there would have met the first criteria to actually make it start again. But because I've also created this, it can't have this one. If it has this one, it would prevent it from going on. So it prevents it from going the second time if you don't want it. If you want to have it run every time, no matter if you add a tag or remove a tag or whatever, you can certainly do that. But if you want to only run it once, even if it has finished and you want to run it again after it finishes, you want to make sure that you don't have to do this. But if you do want to prevent it from going, you need some kind of secondary tag to make sure that it doesn't run a second time. But it's real important for you guys to, if you're going to use this add tag piece, it's going to go through and add it each time unless you have a condition on there, and you just got to be cautious of that, making sure that you don't overrun this because you weren't paying attention that I added some other tag. The fact that newsletter was still in there could have started it again, and I didn't want it to. So I need to make sure that I have some kind of prevention tag in there to prevent it from running a second time if I don't want it in there.